morning, everyone. On my way on another lovely drive to yet another paper mill. So, anyway, I just kind of thinking over this weekend as I finally got to see family, wife and kids for the first time in 5 days. Didn't see them for 6 days before that, and just trying to cram a whole bunch of stuff into basically a couple of days. And I don't know, something just kind of dawned on me. Went on a date with my daughter Saturday night, and for the most part, to start, everything was great. I had fun. Went to see a movie. Went to eat dinner together. When we got out of the movie, though, apparently in the theater, the reception was bad, so I didn't have cell phone signal, and get out of the theater, and I've got notifications. I got a voicemail and text messages and everything from work. Someone who was covering one of my projects over the weekend was trying to get in touch with me because there was a problem. So having finally, an opportunity to be connected and communicate, I spent probably the next 15-20 minutes or so, something like that, on the phone with him, and on the phone with some of the people at the mill to work through the problem that we were having. And on its face, that doesn't seem like that much, doesn't seem like a big deal, but I look over, and my daughter's just kind of slumped over in the chair, and she's, can't tell if she's crying or what's going on, but she's upset. And then I find out that yes, she was crying, and basically what it all stems from is her vision for where we were, what we were doing, was to have all of me, and to be somewhat, if not completely, uninterrupted, and to be able to spend time together and not have interference, not have any kind of electronic outside influence, certainly not work. Spend the entire week away from home for work, and working long days, and not really having time to talk or spend any time either on the phone with them or otherwise during the week. This was our opportunity to actually get to do something together. And like I said, while it was good and fun and everything, to the extent that it was, it still ended up getting cut short, and it was sort of tainted. And we've seen this scenario play out so many times. You see the movies, you see the TV shows where the kids just want their dad to, or in some cases the mom, whoever the person is who's not giving them the attention that they want or need. And the kids don't understand that, this is... And I try to explain that this is what it takes, what has to happen in order for us to be able to afford the house that we live in, to go to school, the school that we choose to send them to, and to be able to have some nice things. And look, by no means are we wealthy or anywhere close to that. So in case there are any illusions of that, let me dispense with that right off the bat. We're not hurting financially by any stretch of the imagination, but we're certainly not well off. I have virtually no hobbies. My hobbies involve like watching sports on TV, kicking around on Twitter or things like that. I do some volunteer work, but I don't have a boat. I don't have a hunting camp. I don't have jet skis or play golf or anything like that. I do some sports activities, basketball, things like that. Pick up games with my sons, and we'll go to a park occasionally, things like that. But I don't have any expensive hobbies. And most of the things that I do that would be considered hobbies of that sort, I have recently just started to carve out of my life because I found that they were getting in the way of where I really wanted to be. And you get to be 44 years old, and I'm starting to understand why people go through a midlife crisis, because this is it sucks the soul out of you to wake up 5-10 years later and to realize that essentially you're that much older and you have very little progress to show for it. You are grinding away and you're living in the same house. The house has gotten older and more run down than it was when you started. You've done a few little things to spruce things up here and there, and made some repairs and things like that, but by and large you're just getting older and life seems to be getting away from you. And it's not like it was when you were 15, 20, 25 even, where you felt like you had the whole world out in front of you. And it's very easy to see this world kind of caving in on you and swallowing you up. And the clock is just ticking closer towards death, and retirement is the thing that you're looking forward to, where you can actually relax and do something you enjoy with your life. And it's so like, it's a very complex and nuanced situation to be in, because on the one hand, I feel like I've got a pretty good gig. I've got a good job. I have some awesome people that I work with. There's plenty of positives. There's plenty of things to get excited about and enthusiastic about. But then there's also, at the end of the day, like this, it's almost August, and I look back on this year so far, and it's just like the time is just escaping me, and I don't know how to not be upset, or maybe not upset is the right word, but how to not be concerned and regretful that I haven't done more with that time. I've done some awesome, fun, amazing things in that time, but a lot of that is because of the choices that I've made this year to kind of step away from some things that I felt like were like fantasy sports was one that I understand. I've done it for 20 some odd years, and I get that it's fun and it has its place and it has its merit, but really for the most part for me it was sucking so much energy and so much time and so much attention out of me that when you look up after 20 years of doing that, and the best thing you can point to is your name being carved on a trophy a couple of times, maybe, in my case 3 or 4 times, and some financial winnings. But when you do the math on how much time you spend on this stuff, you're working for like 50 cents an hour, even with any prize winnings. So it's not like it's some lucrative deal. I know, for a hobby to be basically 20 years worth of a hobby and to be no worse than break even, it could be a lot worse, but and there's been some experiences, and I've met some cool people and still friends with a lot of them. That's not to be mistaken for time completely wasted, but it's still, there are things that I want to do. I went to school for broadcasting, wanted to do television, then for a while wanted to do film. I've written a few scripts, kind of gone nowhere, and I have wanted to try to turn what I'm enthusiastic and passionate about and what I think I'm talented at into something that makes the world around me better and makes other people's lives enriched, because there are people who have done that for me. There are creative people who have created things that are amazing and uplifting, life-changing, paradigm-shifting, and it's hard not to want to be a part of that and to do something similar, especially if you think that you are capable of it and you see the niche where you think you could fit with that. So I guess the whole reason for this video is that I just kind of came to this crossroads a bit this weekend, where I'm not saying that I've like seriously considered anything very drastic or anything like that, but I know there are a lot of people who deal with depression, who deal with anxiety, who deal with just a great deal of difficulty, and the thoughts of escape and giving up that come with that. And it kind of hit me yesterday morning that I don't know. I'm probably not the first person who's ever come up with this idea, but as far as I know, I'm the first person I've ever heard begin to articulate it. And so this is my little nugget from this weekend, because this is the path I'm headed down. If I'm worried about my future, and if I am hitting a wall and becoming frustrated or hopeless or depressed or just kind of feeling impotent from the standpoint of a career and life goals, that sort of thing, perspective. And I know there are other people out there feeling the same way, coming to a midlife crisis of sorts, when you feel like your job, while it's paying the bills, is also killing you, and you feel like it's keeping you from being with your family. The amount of time and to the extent and in a way that you feel like you should be showing up for them. And you can see the effects of that, and you don't want your kids to grow up and, to be 5 years older and to have drifted farther away from you and to know you less than they know you now, or to not know you any more than they know you now. Giving up is not the answer. Escaping is not the answer, because you hear about it all the time. People just up and leave. They disappear, or they commit suicide or something like that, and leave their kids dealing with that. It's a much worse thing to deal with than even having a father or a mother who's not as available as they could be. But if you feel like these things are happening, if you feel like the path you're on is destructive or is enslaving you to a degree, then why let it get the best of you and consume you completely and put yourself in a position where you feel like the only escape is something like that, instead of just taking a risk and seeing what you're really capable of and putting yourself out there. And I'm not saying I'm considering like cold turkey just quitting my job. Well, okay, I am considering it. I'm not seriously considering it. But I mean, geez, seems like a much better alternative to the current situation than continuing to let it slowly kill me, or turning to some sort of substance abuse or any other sorts of midlife crisis responses that you typically hear about. It seems like it'd be a much more fruitful and much more worthwhile approach to just put yourself out there, see what the world says, and trust yourself and bet on yourself. Don't bet on the house, bet on yourself, and take that risk and see what's out there, see what you're capable of, see what can happen. Because one of the things that I think is kind of funny is you always hear about these people that they lose their job, and that's the thing that was the catalyst for them becoming everything that they have become. And it's amazing. They're, living well, extremely happy. They're the people who wear, tennis shoes and Hawaiian shirts to board meetings because they can, and because they just say, well, screw you if you don't think this is okay, because I'm going to do what I want to do anyway, and I'm going to make my money anyway, regardless of what you think about what I'm wearing. I'm done playing by your rules. I make my own rules now. Make your own rules. Do something. Get out there and crush it, because that's what I'm about to start doing. At least that's what I plan to do. Journey with me and help me to have the balls to do it, and maybe along the way we can help each other to achieve what we're capable of. Thanks.